welcome you to Laker Landing Edition 2 here from the Lakeland College Athletic Department. And today we have members of the Lakeland College softball team, head coach Nick Nelson, and sophomore Frankie IZARD, and freshman KYRSTEN DARROUGH, who have joined us. So we're appreciative of them joining us here today. And we're adding a little bit. Hopefully we can get our gallery view recorded. Last week with the baseball team, we just had the active speaker, but hopefully the gallery view, and that means Coach Nelson's on all the time. So even though he's out at the field, being busy out there as usual, but we'll have Coach Nelson and Frankie and KYRSTEN on our second edition. So thanks again to Sports Information Director Brandon Colvin for helping set this up. We appreciate his assistance. So let's start with Coach Nelson. Coach, obviously these are challenging times, and the pandemic has caused a lot of grief and problems for everyone. And I know your softball team is right in there with the rest of us. Talk a little bit about how this has affected your program and where you see your program going from here.
Well, besides having one of the best teams we've ever had, we finished our season basically about a third of the way through 21-4, which is the best start we ever had. We were ranked in the top 15 in the country. You know, besides that disappointment, it's been devastating for everybody, for the freshmen not getting a full year, and the sophomores not being able to have their last year at Lakeland. And then our recruiting of our sophomores have taken a hit. We're going to get them there. We're slowly but surely getting there and stuff. But with what the NCAA did with retaining seniors and giving everybody their year back, it's making recruiting a little more difficult. And this week we're going to have a live interactive screening of some of our sophomores in a barn, and hopefully see if we can stir some interest up that way. But we're getting there, slowly but surely.
Talking about your sophomores being recruited, one of those is Frankie IZARD, and Frankie is joining us here on our meeting here today. And she's a St. Joseph, Illinois native, and she has recently committed to Louisiana Lafayette, who was ranked number 8 in the nation when all of the play stopped. And so congratulations, Frankie, on your signing. That's very exciting. Tell us a little bit about how you came to that decision.
Well, it wasn't that hard. It's actually like a dream of mine to play there. It always has been. And to play for Coach Glasgow, it's an amazing opportunity, and I wouldn't have done it without Coach's help and him getting me the chance to play in front of him. So it really wasn't that tough a decision, but I'm very lucky.
Are you excited about the transition to Louisiana, far from home? Lakeland's not that far from home, but that's quite a jump.
Yeah, it is. I'm very excited. It's going to be different for sure, but and being away from my family, I'm not going to be used to that, but I'm ready for it.
And where do you see yourself, and where does the coach at Louisiana Lafayette see you fitting into their puzzle down there in terms of whether it's position, playing time, those type of situations?
It's definitely going to be a challenge. He told me that from the start. I'm going to have to work extremely hard, which isn't a problem for me. And as long as I work as hard as I can, he says he can see me starting in the next year if I want to.
Well, that's very exciting. Congratulations again. We also have freshman KYRSTEN DARROUGH with us today. She's from Flora, Illinois, and so not far from the Lakeland campus as well. Talk a little bit about how this pandemic has impacted you, KYRSTEN. And I know that also some athletes are considering getting an additional year of eligibility. And tell us if that's something that you're considering yourself.
Well, I plan on moving from Lakeland after next year and hopefully playing at Division I. So I could take the eligibility somewhere else. It just depends. I'm planning on going into nursing, so it'll all see how that plans out as well, where I go. So.
Okay, great. And so you'll remain a freshman with eligibility next year, is your hope then? Is that what you're going to apply for? Okay, but still plan to transfer to Lakeland or from Lakeland after next year. Coach
Correct.
Nelson, this is, you talked about impacted seniors at four-year institutions, but in talking with Coach Julio last week from the baseball team, he has some sophomores who are returning for what would be a third year, I guess. Do you have any of those types of situations panning out, or most of your sophomores heading out to other institutions?
I pretty much told my sophomores they weren't going to be invited back, and it had nothing to do with me not liking them. excuse me, I'd give anything to have them all come back. But for them to come back just to play softball academically doesn't make sense. It's time for them to move on to be juniors. Also, too, that would put my team in the high 20s, and that's just a lot of kids. It would kind of screw some of the other kids over in playing time and stuff. And so it was just my opinion that, it's time for them at the end of 2 years in graduation, they academically and everything else wise, they probably need to move on and stuff. But again, don't read anything into it. I would give my right arm to have that set of sophomores back. They were really, really good. But it's always been my belief that once you finish and graduate, it's time to move on.
And I think that's completely understandable, especially with the results you guys not only have on the field, but also in the classroom. You have a number of academic All-Americans, and your team always has a very high GPA, so I think that only makes sense from an academic perspective. Frankie, tell us a little bit about how this has impacted your academic situation, and is it something that you've enjoyed, not enjoyed? How has it made your day-to-day academic situation change?
For me, it's been harder. I'm not one that is the best with online. I mean, I've managed to keep my grades the same, no big deal, but I prefer like the face-to-face in class experience more, and it clearly isn't the best when I can't have my teammates around to help me out and help each other out with different homework assignments and here and there.
And I'm sure that you're definitely hoping that this situation corrects itself so you can get on campus in the fall too.
Yeah.
KYRSTEN, how about yourself with academic challenges you've had?
Yeah, I'm the same way. I prefer lecture classes, like face-to-face, for sure, and a little bit challenging. I have a chemistry class, and it's hard because I do have teammates that had a chemistry class with me, and now they're not around. And used to we do homework together and all that and study, but it's been a little more challenging, but it's all right. We'll get through it.
Coach Nelson, these athletes have been on their own now for over a month, especially for your freshmen, but even some, I'm sure, for your sophomore. What have you and the coaches developed or devised for them to keep them busy, to keep their skills sharp? I know with your softball team and seeing them at Lakeland College in the weight room, they're probably doing all that on their own because that was like their second home. But what are some things that you and your coaching staff have done to try to keep their skills sharp?
Basically, not much of anything, to tell you the truth. I'm kind of looking at this as the start of their summer. Normally, I start my year on June 15th every year. That's the start of our season. That's when they get the email, the texts, the workout program, the diet, and everything. This year, we've been working on a program. We're going to start May 1st, which is coming up here at the end of this week, and that's going to be the start of our season. And that's when we're going to start giving them all the stuff that they need to be doing. We're going to be using Zoom. We're going to be using FaceTime. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff differently than we've ever done before because of people not being able to be around. I talked with Coach Thornburg yesterday, our pitching coach, and we decided he's going to send one drill a week to our freshmen so they can start learning it, and the sophomores are going to work with them to learn the drills when they come in here. They understand that. So we're kind of treating it more like summer than anything else, is just giving their plan, and hopefully they'll do it, and some will, and some won't, and that's the way it is every year and stuff.
KYRSTEN, so this is kind of a summer vacation for you, but I'm sure, as Coach said, it's going to get hard pretty quickly.
Yeah, I know some of us, I'm still here at the apartment, some of us still do, like throwing here and there, working out together just a little bit, but yeah, when it kicks on, there's a lot to do. So if you do it, there's a lot, and it wears you out, but it benefits you a lot. So
I don't think KYRSTEN's quite getting the summer vacation everybody else is. She's also our co-pilot. She might tell you a little bit about what the co-pilot is and her duties and stuff. So she's been really busy with me.
So what do those duties entail?
Oh boy, as a co-pilot, you're pretty much his right-hand man. So anytime he needs anything, any phone calls, emails checked, just getting him lunch, like that's me. He calls me up and says, "Hey, will you?" I'm like, "Sure, Coach, I got you."
But of course, practicing social distancing, right? So.
Exactly. That's why we use FaceTime and Zoom.
Frankie, what about you and your off-season workouts? And do you have something that the coaches will supply you to keep you busy over the summer?
Yeah, he'll probably start sending me stuff once I officially sign here soon. But I do a lot of stuff on my own. I'm fortunate enough to have a gym here at my home, and I'm able to get some swings in every day and do a lot of speed and agility stuff every day, and it's good.
Great. Coach Nelson, you talked about how this has impacted your sophomores moving on to four-year schools. How have the restrictions limited you in terms of trying to recruit for next year?
For me, it's actually going to help us because the four-year schools, most of them are keeping their seniors, which means several of these schools are going to have 20 to 30 some kids in their team. And so you're going to have freshmen that are looking at, like, do I want to go to a team that I may not play for 2 years? The 21 class, the incoming senior class, is going to be impacted. So from a recruiting standpoint, I think we're going to benefit. I think we're going to get some players that we normally wouldn't get from our standpoint. For the sophomores, once again, most of these schools are keeping their seniors. Every time someone keeps a senior, that's a JUCO transfer that doesn't get recruited. But we're aggressive about it, and Frankie can tell you how aggressive we are. I mean, I just sent this morning alone, I sent out 300 emails advertising a recruiting live stream we're going to do Wednesday to get our kids looked at. And I've already got a bunch of phone calls and that, but we're pretty aggressive about getting our kids there. Those that want to play, we'll get them somewhere to go. But no, I think from the JUCO standpoint, it's going to actually aid us a little bit.
Frankie, you were part of the national championship, not championship team, but the team that got to the nationals last year. Tell us maybe kind of your thoughts and what you were looking forward to the most this season. I know it's been devastating for many athletes in many situations, but specifically, what were some things that you were looking forward to this year that unfortunately just aren't going to happen?
I was just really looking forward to all the games that we were going to get to play together and all the fun that, like, I've never had more fun with a team than I have this year. And we would have made it to nationals and been extremely successful. And the fact that we weren't able to do that it was heartbreaking, really. And the fact that I wouldn't be able to play another game with my teammates was awful to hear. But, I mean, we're all going to get through it, so we'll be all right.
KYRSTEN, tell us about how your team received the news. You were in the middle of spring break, or tell us a little bit about that situation.
Well, the first time my group was actually working out. Frankie is in my group. We were out in the gym working out, and we thought something was off with Coach. You know, Coach Jackson was in and out of his office, and we're like, okay, what's going on? And Coach just seemed more upset than normal, I guess, just a little off. And we're like, oh boy, and he's like, hey, round up all the girls, get them here. And then we're like, wow, okay, so this is it, you know? Like, it's definitely heartbreaking for sure. It's something we didn't want to hear.
Yeah, tough on everyone. There's no doubt about it. So, Coach Nelson, this is the end of this season, but I'm sure that, as you said, you'll still have some opportunities to chat with your sophomores and give them as good of a send-off as possible. But you noted this was a really talented class, and you'll miss them.
Yeah, one of the things we have coming up is one of our sophomores, Natalie Gordon's, getting married in August, and I think everybody's coming back for that. So I think it's a chance for us all to get together one more time for that. Hopefully this is cleared up where we don't have to stand 6 feet apart during the wedding and stuff like that. But we're going to get an opportunity probably to get everybody together one more time, and maybe not have the ending meeting like we always have, the ending game like that, but at least see each other before we head away. We had kids from California, kids from Oklahoma. You know, these kids are, you know, once they leave, it's hard to ever see them again. So, but we'll get one more shot at it.
Sounds like that wedding might be a golden opportunity to do that. And I'm sure you've been pretty busy with the field as well. You're busy out there during the season, and actually, I'm sure this gives you even extra time.
I've not done much with the field at all. So, no.
Is he telling us the truth, Frankie, you think?
Actually, I'm the only softball coach in America that owns a cup cutter. Actually, today, before I Zoomed you, I was out there with my cup cutter, taking out divots and replacing them with better grass. So our field looks amazing right now. Absolutely amazing.
We talked about that with the baseball coaches last week. There are going to be some really immaculate fields. Yours is probably at the top of that list, but
that's not even close.
But because of just people aren't playing on it.
Hey, Frankie.
What?
Can you even believe he's even putting us in the same category with the baseball field?
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we end today, I'm going to go through the lightning round again. I did this last week with some of the baseball coaches and players. So just a few quick questions, and just tell us what comes to your mind as you have these questions thrown out to you. So we'll start with Frankie. Favorite athlete of all time? Who's your favorite athlete of all time?
Oh, that's really hard. It's probably Lauren Chamberlain.
Okay. Kirsten.
Same question.
Same question. Favorite athlete of all time?
Probably Jenny Finch.
Okay. Coach Nelson, do you have a favorite athlete of all time?
George Brett, Kansas City Royals. Had he been born in the 30s, had been known as the Brett Bar, not the Baby Ruth Bar.
George Brett, famous for the pine tar incident. I'll never forget it.
You bet.
Favorite college class? Frankie. Actually, let's go with Kirsten first on this one. Frankie, we'll give you a little time to think about it. Kirsten, favorite college class that you've had?
Probably my third world class.
Okay. Coach Nelson, favorite college class you had?
Animal science at Lakeland College with Ed Dumpy and Tom Reedy as my instructors.
Frankie.
Probably anatomy.
Anatomy, very good. Some science people here. How about what you will miss most about Lakeland College for the rest, or who you will miss most? One or the other, or what you're missing most. Take any of the above during this pandemic. So we'll go back to Frankie on this one.
I'm gonna miss my team. That's easy.
Kirsten?
Same thing, you know, the bond there is just so strong, so definitely the team.
Coach Nelson?
Saying goodbye to my sophomores.
Me.
And speaking of that, anyone you want to say hello to or give a quick shout out to today? We'll start out with Kirsten.
Oh, a shout out. Well, if Ma's watching, how about her all the way over in New Zealand?
Great. Frankie, you're up next.
Shout out to Amaya in California.
Coach Nelson.
All my incoming freshmen, guys, get ready. It's going to be a rough year for you.
Telling it like it is, that's for sure. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this. I sure have enjoyed talking to all of you. And hopefully this is a little bit of a glimmer of hope and fun in a situation that is obviously very serious, but very tough to deal with. So thank you all for joining me. Coach Colvin's going to post this to the Lakeland College Facebook page and get it out to YouTube. Hopefully, maybe you can share it with some of your teammates and on your social media, because that will spread like wildfire if you do. So thanks again for joining us. Frankie, good luck at Louisiana.
Thank you.
We wish you all the best down there. Kirsten, good luck as Coach Nelson's right-hand man, so to speak. And Coach Nelson, keep that field in tip-top shape, okay?
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate it.
All right,
Thank
take care,
you.
everyone, and we'll talk soon. This has been a second edition of the Laker Landing with the Lakeland College softball team. Thanks again for joining us, everyone, and go Lakers.